Out past the fence where the gravel road bends, you learn real quick who your friends are. Tracks in the mud where the night things move, cold breath under the stars. Some folks smile with their hands in their pockets, watching what they can take. They circle slow around anything weak, waiting for something to break. You hear them first in the silence, long before you see their eyes. Predators move in patience, they live on other lives. The wolves that surround us don't howl when the moon is high. They wait for the quiet moments, they wait for the weak to cry. But I learned young on hard ground, you don't leave your gate wide open. Out here in the dark of the world, you guard the life you've chosen. Seen them circle broken fences, seen them test the wire, seen good people lose their ground to a smiling light. They don't come running loud like thunder, they creep through the scenes. Take a little more each season, so nothing's what it seems. You hear them first in the silence, just breathe it in the cold. Predators love a soft heart, the bind was raised to hold. The wolves that surround us don't howl when the moon is high. They wait for the quiet moments, they wait for the weak to cry. But I learned young on hard ground, you don't leave your gate wide open. Out here in the dark of the world, you got the life you chosen. Some people call it mercy, some call it letting go. But mercy feeds the wolves sometimes, and I already know. The wolves that surround us circle every fragile thing, but they don't cross this firelight or the ground I stand within. Let them watch from the tree line, let them measure what I'm worth. Ain't a thing they're taking from me. Not this land, not this earth. Don't hear a branch break when the night things moves, They step like shadows through the open fields. And those folks think danger comes crashing through the door. But the ones that take your ground move quiet on the floor. They watch the weak fences, they study every scene. Predators don't hurry, they learn what you don't see. They smell blood first, long before the wound shows red. They circle what is fragile, they circle what is scared. They smell death first, before a word gets said. Out here the wolves already know what's breaking in your head. Seen them in the boardrooms, seen them in the bars. Same cold eyes watching, measuring the scars. Different kind of hunger, but the rule remains. Anything unguarded ends up in the chains. They test your hesitation, then listen for your fear. And quiet kind of weakness rings loud and clear. They smell blood first, long before the one shows red. They circle what is fragile, they circle what is scared. They smell blood first, before a word gets said. Out here the wolves already know what's breaking in your head. That's why I stand steady, that's why I hold ground. Because the wolves get closer when weakness makes a sound. They smell blood first, before the knife appears. They move toward the silence, and nobody interferes. But they won't find weakness standing where I stand. 'Cause I learned the wolf's language, and I darn my out past the ridge where the grass runs thin and the fences lean with age. You learn real fast what the coyotes know and the wolves that test the range. Anything wandering past the wire, anything slow or lame, don't last long when the shadows move and the pack begins its game. They don't chase what stands together, they don't waste their breath. But anything drifting from the herd is a promise of easy death. Loose stock gets taken, that's the rule the wild is known. Anything left unattended soon won't be your own. Loose ground gets claimed, loose words get used, and the wolves don't need permission when a door's been left unlatched. Seen the same thing in town before, different boots, same eyes. Folks who circle broken fences, waiting for the prize. They don't roar like a coming storm, they move like falling snow. Quiet hands on quiet things, till nothing's left to hold. You can call it human nature, you can call it greed, but the woes that men alike can't spell what others need. Loose stock gets taken, that's the rule the wild is known. Anything left unattended soon won't be your own. Loose ground gets claimed, loose trust gets bruised, and the wolves don't need an invite when the gate swings loose. The world keeps count of weakness, and the woes are rarely fail. Loose stock gets taken, that's the law of tooth and bone. Anything drifting from the circle ends up alone. But nothing here is wandering, nothing here runs free, 'cause the land I keep beside me stays exactly where it should be. Every piece of ground tells a story, every post sunk deep in clay. Someone stood here long before me, marked where the wild should stay. Wire pulled tight through cedar timber, steel against the wind. Lands like these ain't built for beauty, they're built to keep things in. The world keeps testing boundaries every chance it finds. Predators respect one thing, well-drawn lines. Fence lines matter more than people like to say. They show the world exactly where the wolves can't stray. Fence lines standing straight through dust and rain. If you don't mark what's yours, will claim. Seen folks leave their gates wide open, thinking trust will hold. But trust ain't much protection when the night runs cold. Same rule works in every town, same rule works in fields. Anything without a border turns into someone else's yield. Kindness has its place, but kindness ain't grind. Even the wild understands a warning sign. Fence lines matter more than people like to say. They show the world's exactly where the wolves can't stray. Fence lines standing straight through dust and rain. If you don't mark what's yours, someone else will claim. I don't build them out of anger, I don't build them out of fear. I build them so the things I love stay safe right here. Fence lines matter even when the sky turns black, because the walls respect the ground that pushes back. Fence lines holding strong through wind and flame, and anything that crosses them knows my name. You ever feel the woods go quiet, like something moved that you can't see? The wind stops talking through the branches, and the dark feels closer than it should be. Nothing broken, nothing moving, not a sound to give it away. But the back of your neck starts telling you someone's watching anyway. You don't see them at first, you just feel the change, like the air itself knows your name. Eyes in the trees, quiet and still, waiting to see what they will. Eyes in the trees, Folks walk right past the feeling, say it's just the mind at play. But instincts grow from older stories, carried in the bones we made. Every hunter knows that moment, every animal does too. That quiet sense of being measured by something steady in you. It's not fear exactly, it's something else, like the land itself holding its breath. And the trees, cold and aware, nothing moves without the love. Us and the trees, but they already know I'm watching them from below. The hills look peaceful in October, grass still standing tall and dry. Tracks are faint along the tree line, nothing stirring in the sky. But the old ones know the pattern, how the quiet seasons turn, and the hungriest eyes grow patient, waiting for the cold to burn. Nothing moves too fast out here, nothing wastes its breath. The patient ones survive the most, watching every step. They wait for winter, when the ground turns hard as bone, when the nights stretch longer and the weak stand more alone. They wait for winter, when the fences creak and bend. That's when quiet predators start closing in. Seen the same thing happen slowly in towns far from these fields. People watching troubled seasons waiting for what breaks and heals. Not a shout, not confrontation, just a careful kind of drift, till the moment feels convenient and the balance starts to shift. Hard times bring the circling closer than before. The wolves don't start the winter, but they know what it's for. They wait for winter, when the ground turns hard as bone, when the nights stretch longer and the weak stand more alone. They wait for winter, when the quiet starts to crack. That's when hungry shadows start moving back. That's why I meant things early, before the frost arrives, because winter tells the truth about what survives. They wait for winter, but I know the pattern now. Nothing here gets taken while I'm still around. Let the cold wind come, let the long nights spin, 'cause the ones who know the wolves are ready when they begin. I've watched the quiet circling, seen the patience in their eyes. Predators don't rush a moment, they wait until the timing's right. But waiting cuts both ways sometimes, if you know the game they're in, because the ones who stand their ground are harder things to bend. They thought the cold wouldn't move me, they thought the dark would win, but they forgot one simple truth: I was raised in it. Not one step back, not one inch given. I've walked this ground too long to start forgiving. Not one step back, let the night press in. The wolves might circle closer, but they won't come in. Some people bend with pressure, some drift with every tide, but the land them teach us patience and a stubborn kind of pride. You can test 1,000 fences looking for the weak. The strength is just the quiet voice that doesn't have to speak. I've seen the hungry seasons, I've seen the cold winds start. And storms don't stare a soul, they grew with a steady heart. Not one step back, not one inch giver. I've walked this bound too long to start forgiving. Not one step back, let the night press in. The wolves might circle closer, but they won't come in. You can hit them in the distance, moving through the dark, with the fire still burning. Here forever. Not one step back, let the cold winds spin. The wolves can keep their distance. I'll learn where I've been. Don't happen in the daylight, not when everything's in view. They wait until the yard goes quiet and there's less for you to do. Gate looks shut but not quite fastened. Lights gone dim in the barn. That's the hour they start drifting closer than they were at dark. You won't hear a branch break, you won't hear a sound, but they've already crossed half your ground. That's when they make their move. Not fast, not loud, just close enough to work things out. That's when they make their move. When you ease your guard and everything you've built don't look quite as hard. Seen the same in town and people, different boots, same play. They don't come at you head on, they just find a softer way. Wait until you're worn or busy, wait until you look away. Then they step a little closer, like they've always been that way. It ain't sudden, it ain't new, it's the moment they choose you. That's when they make their move. 'Cause losing ground starts small as this. They'll try to make their move same as before, but I've seen it coming from that first step toward. Let them get close, let them think they can, 'cause I don't leave things open like I did back then. Like I did back then. Walk the fence before the daylight, boots still wet from last night's rain. Every post and every wire ain't a thing I leave to chance. Used to trust what looked like closed, used to think that's good enough. Now I know it's always small things that decide what stays and what's lost. It ain't fear that's got me checking, it ain't ghosts I'm looking for. It's the quiet little weaknesses I ignored before. No gate left open, not even a crack, 'cause what slips through once don't just step back. No gate left open, not this time around. I've seen what gets taken from an inch of ground, from an inch of ground. Town work same as out here does, just don't look like a wooden wire. People lean when things feel loose, where you're worn or just too tired. They don't need a broken doorway, you don't need force to get inside. Just a moment you ain't watching and a place to step and slide. Ain't no warning, ain't no sign, just a shift you catch too late if you don't mind. And no gate left open, not even a space, 'cause they don't rush in, they just take their place. No gate left open, I've learned it clear. What you don't lock down won't stay here. I ain't tightening out of panic, I ain't living looking back. I'm just done pretending small things don't crack. No gate left open, not on my side, 'cause I've watched them test it time after time. Let them circle, let them wait, they won't find a weakness to walk through my gate. To walk through my Ain't a sound when they get closer, no big sign to catch your eye, just a shift you almost miss if you don't look twice in time. Same gate standing like it should, same ground under your feet. Only difference is the distance ain't as wide as it used to be. You don't feel it when it starts, you don't see it from afar, but it's already moving right where you are. They don't rush in, they don't run, they just move one step at a time. They don't rush in, they don't show till they're closer than you know. Seen it play out more than once now. Different faces, same design. They don't need to force the doorway if you leave it undefined. They'll match whatever pace you're keeping. They'll stay just out of sight till the line you thought was holding don't hold up in that light. It ain't loud, it ain't fast, it's the kind of thing that's built to last. They don't rush in, they don't try, they just wait for the right time. They don't rush in, they don't press, they just take what you don't protect. That's why I watch it steady, that's why I don't assume, 'cause nothing gets taken all in one move. They don't rush in, they don't need, they just find where you're weak. They don't rush in, they don't break, they just step till it's too till it's too late. It ain't the door they go for first, ain't the lock you check at night. It's the things you barely notice in the edge of your own sight. Fence that leans a little inward, post that's softer than the rest. That's the place they start leaning, that's the place they start to test. You don't see it as a problem, you just leave it as it is. But that's exactly where it opens, more than you think it did. That's what they test first. Not the strong, not the sure, just the part you don't look at, like it don't matter anymore. That's what they test first. Every time it's the same. Find the spot you went easy and lean into that space. Seen it happen out in daylight, seen it happen in a room. Different shape but same direction, same slow kind of move. They don't push against resistance, they don't fight with standing firm. They just settle where it's softer and let that weakness turn. Ain't no breaking, ain't no force, just a shift that changes what was yours. That's what they test first. Not the loud, not the clear, just the quiet little opening you forgot was even there. but they'll always return. I don't leave those places now, I don't pass them by, 'cause I know what starts small don't stay that size. That's what they test first. Every time they come, not the fire you're ready for, but the one you never saw. That's what they test first, and I see it clear. There ain't a single inch I ain't watching here. You see one out by the tree line, standing where the shadows sit. Looks like it ain't moving, like it's nothing more than it is. Then another off to the right side, closer than it was before. And the space you thought was open ain't as wide as it was before. It ain't one, it ain't chance, it's a pattern, it's a plan. They come in numbers, they don't come alone. One keeps your eyes while the rest moving slow. They come in numbers, quiet and spread. By the time you see it, they're already in. Same thing happens with people, just don't look like teeth and fur. They don't all step forward, but they all know what it's for. One will talk you steady, one will stand aside, one will take a little ground while the others let it slide. It ain't random, it ain't loose, they're all moving when they choose. They come in numbers, they don't rush through, they take their positions like they always do. They come in numbers, close and wide, there ain't a direction they don't try. That's why I don't track just one, don't fix on a face, 'cause the one you're watching ain't the one that takes. It's the space around you, it's the ground they share, it's the way they circle like you ain't aware. They come in numbers, I see it clear. There ain't a step that ain't right here. They come in numbers, let them try. I've got every angle in my sight, in my sight. I've seen you out past the tree line, same place you always stand, like you're weighing up the distance, like you're working out the land. You ain't closer than you were, you just think I don't see. But I've been watching longer than you've been watching me. It ain't new, it ain't strange, it's the same old kind of play. You picked the wrong one to circle, wrong ground to test. There ain't a single inch here I ain't already checked. You picked the wrong one to circle, wrong place to stay. 'Cause I don't leave things open for you to take. You can hold that same position, you can wait the same way, but the gap you're looking for ain't there today. Everything you leaned on, everything you tried ain't the way it used to be. Not on this side. You can circle, you can wait, but there's nothing here left to take. You picked the wrong one to circle, wrong time to try. I've already seen it coming before you got nearby. You picked the wrong one to circle, that's all it is. Not a fight you're walking into, just a place you don't fit. I don't chase what's moving, I don't raise my voice. I just stand where I'm standing and remove the choice. You don't get an opening, you don't get a sign, you just run out of reasons to step over mine. You picked the wrong one to circle, that's all it comes to. Everything you were waiting for don't apply here now. You picked the wrong one to circle, take that back with you. 'Cause there ain't a thing on this ground that belongs